Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Riley Lewis, filling in for Kara McKinney. Joining us now with this Everything is Stupid weekly wrap-up, one day early, is author and supply chain consultant Jim Nels. Jim, what do you have for us this Thursday?
Riley, we're a day early, but there's a lot to talk about. It's great to see you as always. Greetings from the Everything is Stupid traveling studios here in the People's Republic of Chicago, where road construction season is in full swing, which means 30 white guys stand around watching 5 minorities fill potholes while they close 25 miles of road just for the privilege of doing so. As always, it's been another crazy, stupid week. We have a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. And boy, oh boy, Riley, where do we start? How about we start with the Democrats' coordinated presidential candidate, Kamala Harris? Even though it has been weeks since she has been asked a question by the press, she still had a bad week, full of stupidity, cackling, and unforced errors. And let's start with one of the favorite Democrat topics, abortion. Given the news about Kamala's husband and his inability to keep his pants on, we now understand why the Dems want to be able to kill unborn babies right up to the point of birth, or even after birth, depending on the governor. It appears that the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, cheated on his first wife, a woman named Kirsten, with a nanny who also taught at a private school attended by his 2 children. Okay, bad enough, right? Oh, but wait, Riley, there's so much more. Old Doug didn't do the honorable thing, own up to the error, and raise a child of his own. Oh no, Dougie allegedly made her get an abortion. She didn't keep the baby. Heck, even Hunter Biden didn't force one of his baby mamas to get an abortion, and now he even pays child support. Heck, old Sleepy Joe and his wife, Dr. Jill, the greatest doctor since Dr. J, Dr. Dre, and Dr. Drew, even now acknowledge the little girl as their granddaughter, even though it took people like me shaming them in doing so. But now to old Dougie, one quick trip to the clinic and boom, the problem goes away. Until it didn't. Even Willie Brown and Camilla were smart enough not to get her pregnant when they were having their affair. At least Trump marries a woman before getting her pregnant, right? Anyway, perhaps old Dougie should have taken the advice of the Honorable Reverend Jesse J. Jackson when it came to public knowledge that he too had a love child. In classic Jackson style, he said, "I did not mean to deviate. I certainly did not mean to procreate. Next time I shall not hesitate. I will simply go home and masturbate." Well, Riley, you can figure out how that one ends. And have you noticed that no reporter has asked the cackling queen about her husband's indiscretions? Is that something that only makes me go, hmm?
Things that make you things that make you go things that make you go yeah.
Yeah, no. We don't have time for that right now. There's too much to talk about. Now, it isn't Kamala's fault that her hubby has a wandering eye, but this week she did show that she's really bad at the politicking. She picked Minnesota Governor Tampon Tim Walz as her vice presidential running mate. I'll get back to him in a moment. Why did Kamala pick a socialist governor from a deep blue state as a running mate, as opposed to a highly popular governor from a key swing state? I'll tell you a little secret, in the voice of Joe Biden. It's because Tampon Tim is not a Jew. Yep, the Dems don't want no Jew on the ticket. Josh Shapiro, no relationship to my very good friend Ben Shapiro, lost out on the VP sweepstakes. Why? Is it because he's unpopular? No! He has a 60+% approval rating in his state. Is it because Josh Shapiro's from a deep red state that Dems won't win anyway? He's from Pennsylvania, perhaps the key swing state in the election. Oh, perhaps he's not radical enough. Nope. He wants to trans the kids too. It comes down to one thing. He's a Jew, and the Hamas branch of the Democrat Party would not allow a Jew to be the number 2 person on the ticket. So instead, we have Tampon Tim from Minnesota. Okay, let's look into Tim Walz and why I and all conservatives call him Tampon Tim. Tim Walz taught high school in China, even founded a company to sponsor high school students to study there. He let Minneapolis burn to the ground during the St. George Floyd riots of 2020, refusing to call in the National Guard until the city was burnt to the ground and a police station had to be abandoned. He loves abortion. Under Tampon Tim's leadership, Minnesota became the first state to codify abortion rights after the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, allowing for abortion right up until the point of birth. No wonder Kamala's husband picked him to be the VP. Oh, but he also wants to trans the kids. I mean, he really wants to trans the kids. Tampon Tim made Minnesota a trans refugee state, championing what he calls gender-affirming care for minors without parental permission. Meaning, if you're a confused 12-year-old boy with gender dysphoria who thinks he's a girl and you want to, excuse me, you want to chop off your man parts without parental consent, no problem. Welcome to the land of 10,000 lakes. Does another state have a court order asking the state of Minnesota to return you as a runaway to your parents and home state? No worries. We'll protect you. And we'll even pay to chop off your privates. Boobs or tallywhacker, we don't care as long as you can be you. Because Riley, love is love. And while he was at it, he made all Minnesota public schools put tampon machines in boys' bathrooms. You know, because as boys, we menstruate all the time. But I have a question. If he's so supportive of trans bathrooms, why did he not put urinals in girls' bathrooms? I'm asking for a friend. You know, I bet he even supports the Olympics when it comes to boxing, wanting men to beat the living hell out of women in the name of equity. Oh, Riley, I wish it did, but it doesn't stop there. He is also a socialist. Remember, I told you how much he loves China? Let's look at what he said about socialism. Executive Producer Cameron, if you would, please.
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Just do the damn work.
Yeah. Tell that to someone from Venezuela or Cuba. Oh, but wait, there's even more. Apparently, old Tim was a war hero until it was time to actually go to war. Timmy loves to talk about his military service, but when it came to going to war, he quit, leaving the Army National Guard just prior to his unit being deployed to a war zone. That didn't stop him from talking about how he doesn't want the weapons of war he, quote, carried into battle from being used on our streets. Let's take a look.
He said that and he was making a point about gun control. He said we shouldn't allow weapons that I used in war to be on America's streets. Well, I wonder, Tim Waltz, when were you ever in war? What was this weapon that you carried into war, given that you abandoned your unit right before they went to Iraq, and he has not spent a day in a combat zone?
Oops. Timmy, if you're going to claim to have gone to war, you better have damn well gone to war, like a lot of us did. Oh, and show me one single combat veteran who would carry a commercially available semi-automatic weapon in a battle. That list would have exactly 0 people on it. So, yep, Kamala is great at politicking. But Riley and my Everything is Stupid Army, just to remind you that this is about her, Kamala, let's remember this.
So we invested an additional $12 billion into community banks because we know community banks are in the community and understand the needs and desires of that community as well as the talent and capacity of community.
And Riley, this takes me to my biggest concern over the election. They took Sleepy Joe away from me. They took Dilly Mulvaney away from me. Now, I don't want Kamala to be president, but oh, sweet Jesus, my segments would write themselves. This is the ultimate prisoner's dilemma. I don't know what to do or who to vote for. We'll figure it out later. It's time now for the rapid fire portion of our segment because some stories are so stupid, they don't need any help from me. In amazing political news, a second member of the so-called squad went down in defeat this week as Cori Bush lost her primary, joining New York politician Jamal Bowman, you know, the man who can't work a door or a firearm, to the scrap heap of politics. Just one thing to say here. And my favorite Olympic swimmer, Luana Alonso of Paraguay, was kicked out of the Olympics village for what is called inappropriate behavior. All I can say is this. Rumors that I was also kicked out of the Olympic village with her for the same reason are completely false. And I deny having a physical relationship with that beautiful, beautiful woman who may or may not have my private cell phone number. Now, our abbreviated final story of the night takes us back to Washington, D.C. and Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin, who is certifiably crazy. Hey guys, give me a break. It was a busy week. I had a lot to do. Well, old Jamie is now claiming that the 14th Amendment to the Constitution will allow him to disqualify Trump from becoming the 47th president when he wins re-election in November by adopting Civil War provisions. And apparently, he really also hates the Supreme Court. Let's take a look at a video that just recently resurfaced.
It's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means.
So, Jamie Raskin, because you are a crazy socialist, a borderline communist who has stage 7 Trump derangement syndrome, because you claim you're afraid for democracy, but support the fascist policies favored by the Biden regime, because you thought that you could pull off a do-rag on the floor of Congress when you were fighting cancer. And you know what? We MAGA folks are glad you beat it. After all, you're a consistent source of material for me. You are this week's Everything is Stupid Person of the Week. Riley, that's a wrap from here in Chicago. But don't worry, we'll stay on top of these and all stupid stories no matter where in the world they may take us. When news breaks, we'll fix it because everything is absolutely, positively stupid. Back to you in the studio.
Jim, I have to say you've outdone yourself yet again. I don't know where you come up with this stuff, but thank you very much for all the laughs. I really appreciate it.
Have a great night and a great early weekend.